Hey guys, it's Car Guy 11. Today I'm excited to have a new brand on the channel. Yes, Mazda kindly sent me the new 2020 Miata RF Club in this very awesome polymetal gray color with the black wheels. It looks awesome, and it has that lower front lip spoiler in black along with the deck lid spoiler in that gloss black as well. Also, the roofline B-pillar is in that gloss black as well, and the mirrors in the gloss black. So very cool spec here. So the polymetal gray is more of a flat gray color, almost like a battleship gray, but it also has a blue flare to it. It's a very neat looking color, and I got a lot of compliments on it. Posted the picture on Instagram, and lots of likes on there. Now the RF version is the hardtop convertible model, and it is really unique looking, especially from the rear quarter view. It has a very cool coupe-like Targa feel to it, and it's actually doesn't open the whole way. It has just the Targa top section, sort of like my C7 Corvette, the removable roof panel. This, of course, is all automatic, and it's very neat to see it in operation, open and close. Takes around 13 seconds or so, but it's all automatic, no latches to undo manually. Just hit the button inside. Now, unfortunately, there is no remote way to open the top. The key fob just has lock and unlock with the trunk buttons, but unfortunately cannot open the top remotely, which would be a really cool feature. Just that power electric switch inside the cabin. You know, I'm not foreign to Mazda. I've had a 2003 Mazda 6 V6 manual in the past. Yes, and I did a lot of autocross with that car. I love that thing, actually. Really got me into performance driving, and Mazda always has a sporty flair to their cars. So one of the main reasons I wanted to review this car is because I love lightweight, nimble sports cars, and I fell in love with that Toyota 86 I reviewed a little bit ago. So this is even lighter yet, smaller, and I really want to compare the two. So I'll get into more details when we take this guy for a drive. Let's get in the car and we'll do the driving review. All right, so I am going to start this review with the top down. Side windows are up to help with the wind noise, but this is pretty much the way to drive this car. It's a joy just to power top the roof down and enjoy a beautiful day. Now, the wind buffeting's not too bad. It does have this wind blocker behind you. And then, of course, with the windows up, it's not too bad. You get a little bit of buffeting on top of your head. Of course, high-speed driving's not going to be the best. It's more cruiser on a fun back road. All right, we're going to pull over, power that top back on to be sure you can hear me. And there's a little display in the dash showing when the operation is complete. And now with the top up, the car is pretty civilized. Again, it's that hard top, so you're not worried about anyone getting into your car, breaking through that soft top. It's really a nice feature if you're gonna daily this car. Now, if you are gonna be driving it as a fun car, weekend car, with the top down most of the time, you might want to get the soft top because it does lower completely all the way behind your head, where the hard top is a Targa, just like my C7 Corvette. It's just the top portion of the roof. But also the top helps in the chassis rigidity. I do notice a little bit more chassis rigidity with the top up. Convertibles inherently aren't the stiffest, and unfortunately I do notice that in this car. And like I said, even in my C7 I noticed that because it has that removable roof. So wind noise is much better with the hardtop as well, and you're just insulated a lot more in the cabin here. But one thing I was very surprised is I fit well in this car. I have plenty of headroom. I don't know if the soft top is any different, but of course in the hard top, I have enough room here. I have a few inches above my head. The seats don't travel up and down, just back and forth, and I actually don't even have it all the way back. And I have good knee room and, you know, good seating position, so I'm very happy. So guys, unfortunately, I do have the automatic equipped version of the Miata, but it's the same engine. It's a 2-liter, 4-cylinder, 181 horsepower, and 151 pound-feet of torque. This is the revised engine for 2019 with a higher red line of 7,500. So I do have it in manual mode. And you do want to wring this engine out. You do feel that power up towards red line. And I'm sure this would be much more fun in the manual, 6-speed manual equipped version. But the power isn't bad. It gets this lightweight car moving quickly. And this car weighs about 2,500 pounds with the auto and with this hard top, which is about 100 pounds heavier than the soft top. Automatic equipped cars come standard with the normal suspension, while manuals have the option of the Bilstein sport suspension. But in a way, even the standard suspension can get a little jittery over bumps. But the suspension is interesting on this car. With the normal or sport suspension, you're gonna get a lot of lean in the corners. And it does tell you what the car is doing, which is nice. But the grip is awesome on this car. I have not been able to break this car loose at all, no matter what I do to it. And the tires are a high performance summer Bridgestone Potenza tire. Unlike the 86 that does not have as aggressive rubber and could use it. It is just fun chucking this car in a corner and feeling the body lean. If you let off the throttle, you'll get some lift off oversteer, and it turns in more because you're putting more weight over the front. Let's do a nice 0 to 60, and I am gonna brake torque it. Over 60 there, so it's going to be in a high 6-second range, which is actually similar to the manual equipped Toyota 86 I had. So acceleration numbers are pretty similar. You do not have that torque dip like the 86 had. This is a pretty linear power band. You do have more power at the top of the rev range. The sound of this car doesn't have a lot of character. Now the automatic version also does not get the limited slip rear differential, but you don't really need it in the dry anyway. There's not enough power here to spin the rear wheels. Manual also has additional bracing under the car, so all the way around the manual's a better option to get. The auto is a traditional torque converter automatic. It's not the most responsive, although it's pretty decent. Not nearly like the ZF 8-speed in the Supra, and of course with the 6 gears, it's spaced pretty widely. Now that little bit of vibration noise you heard through the speakers, it's the lane keep assist system. It doesn't activate steering, but it does buzz at you if you get close to the lane boundary. Now you can turn that off, which I will do, and it'll stay off even through start and stops. There is a little light on the dash showing it is off. This is a standard feature for 2020, along with blind spot monitoring. It does have the front collision avoidance as well. I think Mazda is more concerned with driving fun, so they do give you the ability to turn these systems off. The interior of the car is pretty nice. It has the exterior color brought into the interior on the door sills here. Now, of course, they're hard plastic, but it is a nice touch. The inner doors are softly padded with the handrails, and then this center section here is softly padded where your arm would go. Cup holders on here, I'm glad they have them, but they're not the best. The bottles wobble around pretty good in it. I have one positioned in the passenger area because it's easy to grab and get to. You can also put them behind you in this center tunnel, but your elbow can hit it at times, so it's a little bit annoying there. There's not all too much storage space in this car. It has this little tiny storage section. I put my sunglasses in here. There's a place for your phone in the center console here with a USB adapter. And then there are storage areas in the back here behind the seats and in between the seats. One here on the passenger side. And then, of course, you have actually a decent sized trunk. You could definitely get some groceries in there. Probably a bag or a small bag or two in the back as well. There are no door storage areas. The other nice thing in the trunk, the roof, open or closed, does not protrude into the trunk. It's all in front of the trunk. So that does not affect storage capacity if your roof is up or down. Now, as far as features, it is decently equipped. This is a club model, not the top of the line Grand Touring, which would give you more features. The AC is manual, but it works excellent. It's a nice, powerful air conditioning, very cold. It does have 3-stage heated seats for both front passengers, and these are cloth seats, so that's interesting to have the heated seats with cloth seats. Of course, in the Grand Touring model, you're going to get leather seats. It does have Apple CarPlay, which is nice, and it has satellite radio, and it's an excellent Bose stereo, very powerful. Even with the top down, you can listen to it. This, of course, blows away the 86's sound system, which I could barely listen to. Even satellite radio is not available on the 86. Now, the screen itself is a little bit difficult to use. You have to use the joystick down here, and then there are shortcut buttons that can get you around, but switching between the two interfaces, CarPlay and the Mazda system, is a little bit on the harder side. There are rather hard plastics on the dash, but again, it's pretty durable for a convertible car that's going to get dusty and dirty. You're going to want to wipe off a lot. So some of the features that are missing on this car, it does not have one-touch up windows, only down on both sides. That would be very nice, especially on a convertible where you're having to power up and down the windows a lot, to have the one-touch up feature. Another thing, it does not have tire pressure monitoring, which again, for a sports car, I think would be an excellent feature to have, especially on track if you want to monitor tire pressures. Another thing, it does not have a digital speedometer, and it has, of course, the analog gauge, but I wish it did have that digital speedometer. It does have the nice center RPM tach, which again is important in a sports car. And the left portion is digital and has your miles per gallon, your range to empty, temperature outside, fuel level, and coolant temp. Another thing I don't like about the interior is the air vents. I can't position them away from my hands, so my fingers are constantly getting blasted with cold air. I mean, not a huge deal, but just something to note. The vents don't have a lot of travel to them. Now, of course, you could turn off the vents completely, but then you're going to be suffering. So let's talk about the price of this car. This is the RF Club middle range with the auto. and it's stickered at $34,500. Now that may seem like a lot for a Miata, but when you look on the market, there are not a lot of hardtop convertibles. You'd have to step up into the C8 or one of the German luxury brands to get a hardtop convertible anymore, and that's double the price of this car. So really, it's not a bad price. Although for a Miata, it is on the expensive side. But like I said, if you're gonna be taking this car as a weekend joyride and having the top down 90% of the time, I would get the soft top. You're gonna save yourself about $2,500. But I do wanna finish this off by comparing this car to the Toyota 86 I drove recently. I really love that car, and it really opened my eyes up to a fun, small, lightweight sports car. Not a lot of power. You don't need a lot of power to have fun in a car. I prefer having an engaging, fun sports car over just tons of power that you can't hardly use on the street. That car to me is more my liking because I'm not a huge convertible fan. I don't like the sun beating down on me. And I know for some, it's totally opposite. And that's why I believe a lot of I've seen reviews comparing the two before, and most of them do pick the Miata. I'd rather have that chassis rigidity of a closed top coupe. That's why I love the Supra. That's why the C7 annoys me a little bit, because even with that Targa top closed, you still feel a little jittery. Same with this car. And I much rather have that precise, strong, firm chassis. Also, I like the suspension tuning on the 86 better. It doesn't lean as much, but this car, when I first drove it, and I can show you here, I was like, am I in a truck, like a top-heavy truck? That's how much lean it has, and when you first get in it, you're like, wow, what? But I do understand why they did it, because you want to feel how the car reacts, and that is pretty cool. But I thought the ride was a little firmer in the 86, but it was solid because of that chassis rigidity. Also, the steering I thought was better in the 86. This steering is pretty direct as well, but there is some play off center. The brakes, you know, you can upgrade this and the 86's brakes to Brembos. I would probably do that on both, but this does, the pedal feels even a little softer than the 86's. Fuel economy. Well, this car does get better fuel economy, getting 26.9 miles per gallon, which is just above the city rating. So it's pretty decent. Probably could get better fuel mileage in this car because the gearing, if you remember, that 86 was screaming on the highway. Now this, of course, is the auto, the manual. I don't know exactly what kind of gearing it has. I would love to review a manual Miata with that sport package just to compare. This, of course, is more expensive than the 86 as well. Again, you're getting a convertible, which does add cost, and for some, it's well worth that extra price. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun car, and I really appreciate Mazda for sending me this vehicle. Looking forward to more Mazda reviews in the future. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on this car in the comments below. Would you choose the Miata or the 86 BRZ? I really appreciate your support on the channel. It really helps with getting all these press cars recently, and it'll help continue them on the channel and more fun content for you guys. So definitely hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining me on this one, and I'll see you in the next video.